Hey all, welcome back to a new video on my channel where it's going to be a part 2 adventure on this, my Indal Arc 250 watt street lamp. So today we are going to be doing a proper in-depth video about it, going full in-depth, and I'm going to show you what it's like on the inside, show you what it looks like on the underside of it, and talk about some future plans for this post-top lamp. So let's get started. So on the outside, as you can see, it's a relatively large fixture, sort of an overly egg-shaped thing. And if we look at the back, this is where the power cord normally comes in. That mount there is the pole mount, where you mount it onto a pole. You can either have it post-top mounted or bar mounted. This one is in post-top configuration, and the cord comes in just here. It comes in through here and comes into and enters the fixture. You can use whatever cord you like on these. You're really meant to use earthed cable, but like that stuff there, but this is non-earthed because it's all I had at the time. So it's running a non-earthed twin cable. And at the front here, you've got the typical latch that latches this thing closed, like that. And to unlatch it, you just put your hand underneath and pop it. Lift it up, and that's it unlatched. So yeah, there's not really much you can see around the outside of it, but I'm going to latch it again for a second, so I can roll it over. So you get the look of the underside, and here it is. Like I said, that's where the cable goes in. It's there. This is where you mount it onto the post. This has written on here, it says no ballast, use ballasted bulbs only. But ignore that. That was when I did a free little project on it. As you can see, Industria. And it says Arc on the inside, somewhere. And here is your glass fronted fixture. And as you can see, inside this one, it would originally have shipped with a high pressure sodium bulb, like was in the other one over there, which will be featured in its own video. That's coming up very, very soon, probably after this video. And so, but anyways, in this fixture here, we now have a 250 watt white lux metal halide bulb. It's running a metal halide lamp. So you can see where the bulb comes in. It's mounted into there, into a bulb socket, and there's your bulb. Now if I roll this back over and we pop the latch, that gives us full entry into the fixture. Put up the safety arm for safety, and here we are. Here is the insides of it. That's where the mains comes in on this connector, and that will not allow this thing to be powered up when the lid's open. Won't allow it, because it disconnects down here through the safety disconnect, which you can also really unplug for total isolation of the entire unit, but you don't need to do that. So plug that back in. So yeah, mains comes in here, up there, and slams into that. As you can see, the label down here, it says use 250 watt bulbs only. It does say use sodium ones, but I'm not using a sodium. I'm using the same wattage, just different technology. And in this unit, you wouldn't find this type of ballasting gear. You would normally find a Cosmos gear, which is an electronic ballast running a 60 watt, 45 watt to 60 watt ceramic metal halide bulb. One that looks sort of like a car headlight bulb. But in the case of this one, it's running 250 watt ballast. Nice big old heavy ballast. The igniter, which is just here, that ignites it, and then a capacitor that's resting down there. and that then feeds, all that lot feeds out on this twin cable here, which also has a safety disconnect, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to get the bulb out. So if I disconnect that, we then just give this very sort of persuading twist to get it to the open stage. Twist it again, wiggle, 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 and out comes the lamp. And as you can see, in this case, it's a metal halide. So yeah. So we'll shove that back inside there. Oh, before we do, I'll give you a view of what's inside there, look. There's nothing in there at all apart from a window. And a massive reflector. So yeah, shove that back in there. Make sure that's lined up. Give it a nice good twist. And then you can plug it back in. And then we just take this connector, slot it on. If I can do this one-handed. Hopefully I can do this one-handed. Yep, there we go. Push it back together and just push it down there. So yeah, and there she is. So as you can see, it is quite grubby. Well, this one's not quite as bad as the other one because I did give it a good clean. But yeah, I've got three of these arcs, and 3 of a different kind. This is the only one I've got indoors at the moment. The other 2 are out there in the shed, but I will bring them in soon so I can get them repaired and up and running. But yeah, other than that, we're now going to shut the lid and I'm going to power this up for you. So yeah, shut the lid down, make sure it's firmly closed, and click that shut. And now we can roll it up like so, tip it up so it faces upwards, take our plug and plug into the mains, and that will turn the bulb on. And this may take a while, but that will eventually warm up. And there we are. So I'm now going to video it warming up. So enjoy. And while we're doing this, you may have noticed that up there on the wall in the background. That has already had its own video. That is my Mazda lighting. 18-watt SOX fixture. Runs a low pressure sodium SOX bulb. 18-watt. So yeah, that's warming up nicely. See, metal halide is very flickery. So sorry about that. But these arc bulbs just are, they're flicker friendly. There you are, there's the metal halide, all warming up. That's getting lovely, lovely warm white. Well, lovely sort of daylight white, which is nice. 250 watt. And that's exactly what it would do out on the street. Warm up to that brightness, and that would light up an entire street or a section of the road. So yeah, warming up really nicely and chucking out quite a lot of heat because these metal halides do. So yeah, and there you are. Full metal halide initial Intel arc. I get that to lock down the focus because I kind of want it to look nice for the thumbnail. And yeah, so there is my Intel arc 250 watt metal halide. Thank you for watching, guys. I will see you again soon. Bye. And now, as a little add-on on the end, we get the cool down. 3, 2, 1. That is going to be warm in there. Yeah, warm. And yeah, so there we are. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. And I am now also going to stand that off, because it doesn't need to be on there. But anyways, see you soon. Bye.